Hey guys, it's Vilma. Welcome back to my channel. So today's review is going to be on the Boots No7 Stay Perfect Super Light Foundation with SPF 15. I've been using this foundation now for about 3 weeks, and I thought it was about time that I do a review for you guys because I've mentioned it in a few previous videos that I've done, and I wanted to speak a little bit more in depth about the foundation. Now this is exclusively sold at Boots because No7 is a Boots own brand, so that's the only store you will find it here, at least in the UK. I'm sure that in America you have other stores now that carry these products from Boots No7, and I've seen a few reviews on other foundations, so I'm not too sure where you would pick these ones up, but here in the UK you can only find them at Boots. Now I went to my local Boots and I really wanted to try this foundation because one of my subscribers asked me if I've ever tried any of their products, and I was definitely a little bit curious, but some of their foundations seem to be a little bit too much on the heavier side, and that's one of the reasons why I never really got to try their foundations or even try one of their samples. Now when I heard that they had a lighter version which is perfect for spring and summer, I immediately went to my local Boots to try and see if I could match myself to one of the shades. Now the assistant was very helpful. She used the match system that Boots No7 has, and I never ever believed that that product would actually work, but it did. The shade that I was matched to is Honey, and I was very surprised that the shade that I was matched to was Honey, because usually I'm like a golden beige, a warm natural, golden natural, things like that. I've never really been matched to a shade called Honey. Honey in my head is always somebody who's like a NC37 to NC40, which is a beautiful shade, but I never ever thought I would be matched to a Honey shade. When you get to hold the foundation, you also have a description at the back, but I'm going to read what the Boots website says on this foundation. It says, life-proof foundation for a super natural flawless complexion with a barely there feel. Our unique super light texture feels weightless and silky soft, gliding seamlessly over the skin for a fresh, natural skin. Skin looks beautifully even and natural, flawless with a renewed radiance. Now I have to comment on these claims from Boots, and I have to agree that the foundation is definitely very, very natural with a beautiful radiance finish, and it just feels like you're putting on a thicker moisturizer, if that makes sense, because the foundation is so weightless on the skin that it doesn't feel like it's there. So I totally agree with the claims that Boots has. Now when it comes to the shades, I believe they have 14 shades available, but I'll put a link below for you guys to check it out. And 14 shades is not all that bad for a drugstore brand. The only issue I have with this foundation, and I'm going to take that off the way straight away, is that it is expensive. I find that £14.50 is quite expensive. Not that it's not worth it, because it actually is, but £14.50 is quite expensive. When we go to the drugstore, we expect the foundation to be maybe £10 or less, or if it's over £10, maybe up to 11 to 12. When it starts reaching £14.50, I'm starting to find it a little bit expensive, because if you put another £5, you can actually go to MAC and buy a foundation at MAC. So it's something that it's kind of like a pro for some because they really like this brand, but for some people who are definitely on a budget, £14.50 can be a little bit expensive. So it has SPF 15 and it carries 30 ml of product, which is 1 fluid ounce, which is the standard amount of product that you would find in most foundations on the market. When it comes to the packaging, I love it. It's plastic. It has a little nozzle right over here where the foundation comes out, so I don't have a problem with this as long as it's not completely open like certain drugstore foundations where they don't have a pump. You just pour and everything comes out. This one has a little nozzle, so you have a little bit more control. It does get a little bit messy, but I don't have a problem with that. It's fine by me. And this foundation, as far as I'm aware, is water-based, so you need to shake it really well before you apply it. And there is a little ball inside to mix the emollients and all the good stuff that the foundation has. Now in the application, you guys could see that I was using my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge, and that's my favorite tool to use with this foundation. I also like the Real Techniques buffing brush, but when that one is dirty, I always go back to the sponge because I feel like it gives me a more flawless and more natural finish, and this foundation is super blendable. Now because it's a, I believe, water-based foundation, I had a feeling that this would going to be, or I have a thought that it was going to be very liquidy, like for example the MAC Face and Body, where you also have to shake it really well. But I find that, for example, when you shake this foundation and then you take it out, or you know, dispense a little bit on your hand, it is quite liquidy, but when you apply it on your face, it just feels like a normal foundation. I'm not too sure if I'm coming across in a clear way. I just thought it was going to be very liquidy and very thin, like, because it says it's super light, but it's not. It gives me personally the right amount of coverage, which is light buildable to medium. It definitely can give you medium coverage, but I'm not too sure if you can get full coverage with this, because I don't usually go for full coverage on my day-to-day basis. So light to medium coverage is absolutely fine for me. One of the claims that this foundation has, and it's saying at the back, it says it's life-proof foundation with up to 24 hours of wear for a super natural flawless complexion with a barely there feel. Now up to 24 hours, I'm not too sure if the foundation lasts 24 hours, but I can say on my combination to oily skin, which is a little bit more oily now that spring is here, the foundation does last the whole day. I usually get oily around the 6th hour, and this foundation lasts pretty well. I only have to blot and apply maybe a little bit of powder, mostly on my T-zone, but everywhere else the foundation just looks like it hasn't budged, it hasn't moved. And one of the things that I definitely have to give it a good thumbs up is that this foundation is not all that transferable. When I blot, I only see a little bit of oil, and I think also what is transferring to the tissue is my setting powder. So great foundation. I would highly recommend. This has definitely climbed up to my favorite foundation from the drugstore. I like it so much. I've done a review on my blog, and I'll link it below for pictures if you guys want to see a little bit more and have a better feel for the foundation, and of course because I would love for you guys to visit my blog. But this is a product that I will definitely be recommending a lot. Fantastic foundation. I noticed that most of my drugstore foundations, when I say I love them and I really like them, I get to a point that I stop using them. But this one, I just feel like I'll be using it because I think that the coverage and the finish that it gives me is perfect. It does feel like an expensive foundation, so the £14.50 are not that expensive when I have the positive thoughts that I have about the product. So highly recommend. Love the foundation. Let me know if you've tried it or if you want to give it a go. Comment below if you have tried it. If you have any other recommendations of similar foundations, please don't forget to comment, because we all like to have these new informations and thoughts about products to help each other out. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you guys very soon. Bye.